Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Thanks for checking in here on a crazy busy Monday. We're live in Vegas, Circa Resort Casino. We appreciate you watching on YouTube TV, listening on Sirius XM channel 158, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, or any of our great affiliates across the country. We begin this hour by going out to the Progressive Guest Line. Nick Whalen joins the program now with RotoWire. Also, he hosts Prop Points, great show every day here, Monday through Friday with Jeff Erickson at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. Nick, thanks for the time as always. We'll get your thoughts on the NBA Finals, which will begin on Wednesday night. But a massive deal today in the NFL as the Cleveland Browns traded Myles Garrett to the Los Angeles Rams for Jared Verse and 3 future picks, including a first-rounder next year. What was your gut reaction when you saw that trade today?
Well, luckily, guys, we were live on air talking NBA Finals when I happened to glance down at my phone and see the Ian Rappaport, siren emoji notification. So we had to do some emergency on-the-spot coverage of that over on Prop Points. Look, I thought it was going to be the A.J. Brown trade, which, of course, has since happened. And that now just doesn't even feel like that big of a headline, given what happened earlier this afternoon. On the one hand, it's puzzling because I think on draft night, the Rams kind of signaled to us that they are trying to serve 2 masters. They still want to, of course, go and win the Super Bowl this year and what could be Matthew Stafford's final year. But they also want to prepare for the future and drafting Ty Simpson. Now, going out and trade the farm for Myles Garrett goes completely against the logic in taking Ty Simpson, which I think is interesting in hindsight. But this is a nightmare for the rest of the NFC. That's the first thing I thought of, right? I'm stationed here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, even as a Jaguars fan. And my first thought is like, oh no, the poor Green Bay Packers, the poor Seattle Seahawks, San Francisco, all these other contending teams in the NFC. I mean, we've seen Myles Garrett be the best defensive player in the NFL for the bulk of his career in a bottom 3 to bottom 1 situation for almost the entirety of that time. I mean, the freedom that he's going to have, the advantages he's going to have that he never, ever had in Cleveland. I mean, it's easy to dream on why the Rams ended up making this deal. But I will say, I think the Browns did pretty well here. I mean, obviously the draft capital is what you would expect to go back in a trade like this. But I mean, you're getting a guy who is a 25-year-old defensive rookie of the year 2 years ago in Jared Verse. I mean, guys like that do not get traded.
Yeah. Is there a bet to be made at all? Paulie kicked around Rams most wins. That's available at 7-1. Browns most losses might be worth a look as well. What do you think?
Well, the Browns are going to have some competition for that one. Unfortunately, I think they're throwing their hat in the tanking ring. But a team like Miami and Arizona will certainly have something to say. I guess I was a little surprised. I mean, I don't mind Rams most wins, that's for sure. But the Rams are still plus money to win the NFC West, and obviously it's a competitive division. You have the reigning champions. You have San Francisco out there. You also have Arizona at 100-1 if you feel like betting that. But getting the Rams at plus 110 right now still feels like a decent deal in the wake of that trade.
I can't wait for the NBA Finals. This is fantastic on paper, and the Knicks end the drought. And God knows what the tickets will go for if it's Game 6 and the Knicks are up 3-2. But I thought you said something interesting before you popped on. During this incredible run, historic run, 11 in a row, combined plus 262, all the opponents were middle of the pack defensively. This is a different beast in San Antonio now.
No question. And I think you laid it out well to say that this will be an incredible NBA Finals, not something that we would have thought even a month ago, right? When it just felt like, all right, whoever wins OKC, San Antonio, they're just going to cruise over whoever emerges from the East. But the Knicks have played so well since Game 4 of that Hawks series that I think they have rightfully earned a ton of respect. And I'm of the belief that they can win this series. But like you said, I mean, you're coming off of this great offensive run. I think they have like a 123 offensive rating during that 11-game winning streak. They're shooting 40% from the field. I mean, every single game just feels like an avalanche from the jump. But you're doing that, for the most part, against mediocre defenses. And I would say bad defenses by NBA playoff standards. I mean, Cavaliers, I think, were 18th in defensive rating after the All-Star break. The Sixers were 15th. The Hawks were actually a good defense, but as we talked about at the time, guys, they made their bones against a really, really easy schedule after the All-Star break. So what would worry me most if I'm a Knicks fan, like maybe I'm thankful that I don't have to face OKC. I just don't have to deal with that beast. Obviously, Wembanyama is a whole different ballgame, but just the sheer number of plus defenders that the Spurs could throw at Jalen Brunson. It's not just De'Aaron Fox and Dylan Harper. It's Devin Vassell. It's Carter Bryant off the bench. Obviously, Stephon Castle is going to spend a ton of time on him as well. I would argue there are 5 or 6 defenders on this Spurs team that are probably better than anybody he faced in that Cleveland series.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. So how do the Knicks handle Wembanyama down low? How are they going to attack that, you think, defensively?
I think the advanced numbers would tell you that we'll see a lot of OG Anunoby on Wembanyama, at least to begin this series. Nobody has had more success on a per possession basis against Wembanyama than OG Anunoby since Victor came into the league. Now, some of that sample pulls from when Wembanyama was a bit of a different player. He had a reasonable amount of success against OG in a couple matchups earlier this season, but I don't necessarily, I can't really envision Karl Anthony Towns, doing a whole lot against Wembanyama in these one-on-one situations. I think OG Anunoby is the type of player who can have success, right? You don't necessarily, nobody's going to match Wembanyama size for size. You want somebody with strength. You want somebody who could get some leverage underneath him. And I think Anunoby will be up to the challenge. So I don't see this being an easy series for Wembanyama by any means, but one way I'm looking at game one, guys, is, if I'm anticipating that OG Anunoby is going to spend most of his night, exerting energy defensively against Victor Wembanyama, do we think about fading him on the offensive end? I was talking with Scott Seidenberg last night about the under 17.5 for Anunoby on his points prop. It's now down to 16.5 across the board. There's even a 15.5 at DraftKings. So I think that idea might be out there, but I think at least to begin the series, it's going to be, heavy defensive focus for Anunoby. And as we know, nobody, including the Knicks, is able to get a whole lot at the rim against the Spurs defense.
Mitchell Robinson has done a nice job on him. I don't know how many minutes he's going to play, but I see what you're saying about the defense. I will counter that this is a whole different ball game for San Antonio because of how deadly and dangerous the Knicks are on offense. And there were so many guys on OKC they could just say, "Go ahead, shoot. We'll give it to you." And even Shamet was unconscious. So is it more of a Brunson series and he puts up big numbers, or is he more facilitating and getting everyone involved, and maybe you want to look at assists or other guys there, how you want to attack it from a New York perspective?
I think it would be detrimental for the Knicks if this is a Brunson-centric series, if he's taking 25-plus shots per game. I think when the Knicks have had their playoff burnouts over the last couple of years, that's usually been the reason. That's what you look at and say, man, it was just Jalen Brunson. He had to do everything, and obviously the Knicks came up short. I think they're going to do what they can to force the ball out of Brunson's hands. I don't mind looking at the assists. I was, again, talking to Scott last night about maybe looking at Brunson to lead the series in threes at 3-1, with the idea being that he's not going to be able to get to the rim. He's not going to be able to get into the restricted area. He's going to have to settle for more three-pointers in this series because, as much as we could talk about, the Spurs wanting to force the ball out of his hands, Brunson's not the type of guy who's just going to be passive. He's going to make sure he gets his shots night to night. So that's one way that I would look to play him. In terms of the Knicks role players, Josh Hart over 1.5 threes is probably my favorite prop, ahead of game one, minus 125 over at FanDuel. I think the attempts will be there. You have to pick your battles against this Knicks offense. You remember back to that Cleveland series, they're just leaving Josh Hart wide open. He took almost 7 threes per game in that series. I went back and actually watched every attempt he had from beyond the arc the last time these two teams played back on March 1st. All 6 of those could not have been more wide open. So I think that's something you'll live with defensively if you're San Antonio. And then if you want to go a little bit off the board here, you mentioned Landry Shamet. Landry Shamet to average at least 2 made threes per game for the series, plus 360 right now at DraftKings. I think that's fair. He's got 17 threes over his last 6 playoff games. Let's say it's a 6-game series. Can he get to 12 threes? If you think it's a 5-gamer, can he get to 10? Again, Knicks are going to struggle to attack the rim. If they do get downhill, if they do get there, they're probably passing out. I think there will be opportunity here for Shamet.
Yeah. I'll tell you this, Nick. I got this from a diehard Oklahoma City fan who listens to VSiN all the time, David, who said, take a peek at Josh Hart Finals MVP because he's convinced the Spurs are going to leave him wide open on the threes like you just talked about. He said similarly to what they did with Caruso, he said the open threes probably will be there the entire time in the series for Hart.
Yeah, I think so too. It's just a matter of how many is he knocking down.
Yep.
Hart was a very good 3-point shooter during the regular season. Those numbers have fallen off considerably, to put it lightly, in the playoffs. But it never really feels to me like he's scared to take them. I think there was an 11 attempt game in the Cleveland series, and some of those numbers even during this run are kind of thrown off because so many of these were blowouts, and Knicks starters weren't even playing in the fourth quarter. So I think you could argue those attempts numbers would be higher if those were competitive games. But Yeah, I don't know if I can quite get there on the Hart Finals MVP. I don't know how many threes you'd have to hit in this series to get to that, but I was playing around. Like, if you don't want to take Wembanyama, you don't want to take Brunson. Those are the two obvious choices. Maybe there's an Anunoby case, kind of built in the same way that Andre Iguodala won his Finals MVP in 2015, where he was fine offensively, had some moments, but it was really more about what he did on the defensive end.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
Great to talk to you, buddy.
Also, I think you might be able to find a book that offers 3-point attempts, by the way.
Sure.
And that'd be a good look.
Yeah.
Thanks, Nick. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Good thoughts. I was going to say, when I sweep and you're off a 7-game series, teams won 7 in a row, 7 straight series.
Yeah,
that's a big deal. And the other thing is, are the Knicks going to lose at some point? I mean, that's incredible, this run. So I understand the anti-East stuff and who you played, and you didn't see Boston. I don't care. You can't. They obliterated these teams. As I said Friday, they were so good they made them quit. All 3 opponents quit in Game 4. They were so good, or Game 6 with Atlanta, rather.
I mean,
and the other 2 Game 4s.
What do you think about that analogy I threw out there earlier about the 2011 Thunder? They were so young. They got so many points from players who were 22 years or younger. That's the comp. The Spurs have the second most points in a playoff from players 22 or under compared to that. They're right behind the 2011 Thunder team. And experience does come into play at some point.
No, you're right. But I also love the chemistry and how all these guys with the Knicks accept their role and have bought in since they were down 2-1 against Atlanta.
So many more numbers and angles to get into. We'll react in real time to what our producer Luke has put together. And that was a referendum on Chet Holmgren over the weekend.
So you're listening to this podcast because you want an edge. But what if I told you you're only halfway there? You've got the mindset. Now it's time to get the toolkit to match. Here's the thing. Pro bettors spend thousands on data and tools, but what they don't want you to know is you can get the same edge for a fraction of the cost with VSiN Pro. With VSiN Pro, you get access to expert picks, public betting data, prop projections, powerful tools, analytics, and more. Tap the link in the description and see why thousands of bettors are already using VSiN Pro to cash more bets.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Coming up in 15 minutes, Chris Bellm's going to join the program. We'll get a rundown with numbers, projections for the most wins in the month of June. Games don't start until later on tonight, so you still have time to bet. I know 3 books that have it up still, Circa, DraftKings, and Caesars, and so far in 2026. Got there with Atlanta in April and got there with Milwaukee yesterday in May. So 2 for 2 betting this market so far this season. And I have to be honest, I don't love the month of June, but we have bets anyway. We have so many angles to get into, Paulie, after what happened Saturday night and going into the NBA Finals.
I like a couple teams. What's the first thing you look at? Odds? Schedule?
Schedule, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
That's the first thing that I look at.
Okay.
Overall, who they're playing and how many times will they play.
Tampa jumped out and Seattle jumped out at me.
Okay. Seattle's one of the teams that I looked at.
Yeah.
I think you can make the case for here's why I don't like June. You can make the case for 6, 7, 8 teams this month.
Okay.
I don't like that.
Milwaukee again?
Yeah, you can make the case for them.
Yeah.
You really could.
Doable schedule.
You brought this up earlier. Here's a tweet going back to, I think this was 2023 from Shams. The 76ers are waiving Julian Champagnie to sign Mac McClung. They plan to sign McClung to a 2-way NBA contract out of their G League Delaware Bluecoats affiliate, sources told The Athletic at the time. On the cusp of the dunk contest appearance, McClung gets called up to the NBA. Again, you're seeing all of these moves now come out. Which teams get it and which teams don't? Are you kidding me, Philadelphia? You had Champagnie, you also had McCain, and then Morey at the time said, I'm pretty confident this is the ceiling for McCain. Good job, guys.
Selling high was the quote.
Selling high, yeah, on him.
Trading a guy so you can...
Yeah, there you go.
Just to make sure he wears a Sixers uniform in a dunk contest.
Yeah.
Oh, he's been spectacular.
Why is Alex Caruso not a member of the Los Angeles Lakers still?
Oh, bad move. Big whiff by Pelinka.
Horrific move by the Lakers.
Job. Absolutely.
And it's funny how the Spurs and the Thunder are 2 teams that... I saw this, by the way, people are saying... if Presti calls, just hang up the phone.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
It's a lot like the Rams. Don't answer.
Yep. This is from Sam Quinn. Ben Simmons field goal attempts in Game 7 of the 2021 Hawks series. 4. Holmgren Saturday night. 2. I don't even know what we were watching with Chet Holmgren.
We've never seen it before. Not to that extent. For a big-time player who's a champion, who's in all these commercials. As I said earlier, he hit a jumper 90 seconds into the game. He took one shot the rest of the game, and he wasn't in foul trouble. He's out there getting major minutes.
Yeah. Remember how we mocked Ben Simmons for how it appeared as if he was scared out there of the moment?
Yeah, he didn't want to get fouled, go to the line. Yeah, the
Sure,
yips.
he was embarrassed about that stuff. Had the yips, right? What Holmgren, that was Chet Holmgren in real time. And people are still calling him like he's the second. Reggie Miller on the broadcast. Chet, you're the second best player. Is he? I don't know. I thought it was a lock, obviously, coming into the season that Chet, second best player on the team. I have no idea.
No, Williams is better.
Oh, when he's healthy, no question about that.
No way.
I'd say Wallace might be better.
Yeah.
A.J. Mitchell might be better.
He didn't steal his lunch. He stole his soul, is what he did.
Absolutely,
He
Paul.
wanted no part of him and was scared.
And to expand on this, from Josh Eberle, again, Chet, 2 shots. Ben Simmons in elimination games for Philadelphia, 18, 8, and 6, 9 of 15 shooting, 21, 8, and 6, 9 of 13. Over the years, it got a little bit worse. Only took 5 shots and 6, but 4. But he was actually still putting up pretty decent numbers. Chet had 4 points, 4 rebounds, no assists. How is he even getting? Why is he getting run in the series? Totally scared to death of Wemby, and that dunk that Wemby had, where he just somehow floated gracefully in the air,
Right.
which felt like about 10 feet. That he just coasted and then double-handed, just like, how does that taste, pal?
Yeah, but that's how good the Thunder are. I mean, he needs to hit that long 3 to send it to overtime, or the series is over. You have 2 huge injuries, and you get that performance out of Chet. And Dort was awful and unplayable, and it still goes 7.
Yeah.
So that's why I think this is a big step up in terms of offense. Now, OKC is so good defensively, and they turn you over, and it leads to easy baskets the other way. That's not going to happen with the Knicks. But what the Knicks have done offensively, and like Nick said, offensive rating of 123, they are just dialed in and in a zone, and something we've never seen before in the history of the sport, what they're doing right now. So there are so many guys where you say, go ahead, I'll give you that all day. Good luck, make it. That you can't do that and back off all these guys, and there's 8, 9 guys that can score for the Knicks.
That's right. And also, I'm pretty confident that I'm not going to call it a lock, obviously, and I can't even prove it, but if the Thunder were not banged up, I'm pretty sure they're playing the Knicks starting Wednesday night. I don't think
they are. You can say that.
I don't think they lose
no
the
problem
series.
saying that. Yes.
Yeah. Sean Grandy, play-by-play voice of the Boston Celtics. The final numbers on OKC's title defense: 4-8 against the Spurs, 71-14 against everybody else. 36.4% of their losses. 8 of the 22 were against San Antonio.
Yeah, matchup problem. I love what Windhorst said. You can play a one-man zone with them.
Sure. That's the thing, right? Like all these teams can talk about going small. How do you possibly? They can have Wemby out there and they could have 4 different spud webs if they wanted to.
Yep.
Doesn't even matter.
That sequence at the end of the game was nuts. It's like he can just contest and roam, and all these guys are going to offensive rebound, miss, offensive rebound, miss, offensive, and they couldn't make it.
Yep.
Just because it's like you see those shooting drills where a guy would hold up a broom, and that's what it is. It's like you're trying to shoot over a broom when 7-4 is coming at you and extended and arms and everything. Good luck.
Well,
but it also got hairy though too. Number one, he's got 5 fouls with 750. The Cornet block.
Oh my God! Total game changer.
That's going to be a 4-point game.
Absolutely.
Then they come down and score the other way.
Yep.
And then they turned it over. Had 2 key turnovers there, with about 90 seconds left, and then with 40 seconds, they have numerous looks to cut it to 3.
Actually,
but they couldn't hit one of them.
As you were talking about that with the broom, you got to shoot over that. I'll make my second Olympic basketball reference on the show today in 2024 in Paris. Steph Curry, the gold medal game.
That's right.
When he went nuts, and Wemby is like this. He's 7'5", and he's got his hand up, and Curry is 6'3", and he's just got to go, okay, here you go. I'm just going to lock, and he made it. It's one of the all-time great photos. But nobody's Steph Curry. So Sam Block on X, here you go with nailing these picks. Keldon Johnson in 2019, pick 29. Vassell, pick 11 in 2020. Wemby, of course, no doubter. Castle, 4th pick in 2024. Harper, 2nd pick this year. And by the way, Carter Bryant, you can tell, is a very good basketball player.
Yeah.
He absolutely gets it, and he's going to get more and more playing time and will be a significant contributor. I don't know, maybe in the finals, but absolutely next year that kid's going to get a ton of minutes. Another pick that they hit. Yeah, I mean, just that's 6 in a row, basically. Josh Dubois, Dylan Harper's 84 points in this series are the most by a player age 20 or younger in a Western Conference final since Magic had 87 against the Sonics back in 1980.
That's my guy. Not Stanford.
Who, Magic?
Magic's underrated. We forget how good he was.
No, he was amazing.
Especially what he did in the finals when he was playing center. So the other question is, what does Fox do? Now, is he healed with the ankle, and can he make more of an impact and a difference?
Well, he's got 3 more days here.
That,
so.
Yeah, if he's giving you that too, I would say good luck. But it's also that I'm on a max contract. It's like, do I really need the guy? I mean, I got Harper and Castle and Champagny, and it's like, okay, I'll be fine without him. What Harper's doing isn't supposed to happen. But you have to hit on the picks. You're right. But again, I don't like what Silver did here. This isn't going to happen again. You can't get 3 top 5 picks anymore with the new lottery.
That's
rules.
right. That's right. Also,
that goes back to you have to hit on them, but also how tanking worked out and how tanking changed everything for San Antonio and the luck factor.
I think from a betting perspective, what we're watching right now in the NBA in terms of futures, it's great because for our entire lifetime, 2 teams or 3 teams had a chance to win. That was it. Now,
8 teams, 8 years, 8 different champions we're going to have.
There you go.
But this one we haven't seen either. 65-1 before the season.
Yeah, the Pacers were last year.
Yeah, right.
Just to get there, they didn't win.
Yes, right. And Golden State was 28-1 the first year they got it with Curry.
Yeah, that's right.
But we haven't even had a repeat conference champion since 2019. That's saying something as well.
Yeah.
Just as what we want to see. You're right. So you got the glory days where you had the Warriors against LeBron in that run that we had, or LeBron against anybody coming out of the West.
Mm-hmm.
But this thing's fantastic. Championship season's here. VSiN Pro can help you bet smarter. For a limited time, lock in the price for the football special, just $175. Brown of the Patriots. The Garrett news. The Giants signed a bunch of guys. Coverage for the NBA Finals, Stanley Cup Final, Belmont, MLB. Early access to the NFL betting guide coming soon, June 22nd. We'll attack win totals, division races as well. Every best bet, every host, every guest. The AI-powered prop projections and the betting splits. VSiN.com/subscribe. Head there now. Early bird special. VSiN.com/subscribe for the finals.
I have so much fun betting the most wins in a month for Major League Baseball. It's my favorite way to bet the entire sport. 2 for 2 so far this year. Chris Bellman on the program next, as he does at the beginning of every single month, to give us his thoughts and projections for the most wins coming up this month next here on VSiN.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
I think the first time that I ever noticed books posting the most wins in a month for baseball was 2023. And the Rays started off like 13-0 that year, and they won it for April of that season. You fast forward to what happened yesterday. Well, the Brewers won it with 19 wins overall. 6 other teams had 18 wins in the month of May, Paulie. It was the wildest week and finish leading into the final day that I can remember doing this every single month going back to then. Absolutely crazy. Had the Guardians in pocket as well, and they slipped up. They had 5 losses like in the last 8 days of the month, so that was no good for them. And that was what was going to happen in that Philadelphia Dodgers series. And look at the White Sox. We know a viewer who had pizza money at 200-1?
Yes. What a turnaround. They're playing great ball. Chris has talked about this for a while, too, that put up most losses. That's another great market. You could put up most wins and most losses every month.
Yeah, and Chris Belm joins the program now. Make sure you follow him on X because he shares all of his projections every month. He's at Belm Chris, Bellm Chris, and he's on the Progressive Guest Line. By the way, who had the most losses in the month of May, Chris?
That would be the Tigers. They went 6-22. Unbelievable. They actually ranked, which is funny, they ranked 6th in the model going into May. That was before the Scooble news was announced. And then and they were just atrocious.
Oh, my God. I mean, so what do you think they would have been, actually?
Oh, it's
A fair price on them to actually have the most losses last month would have been huge.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Would have been massive.
You got April with the Braves. In May, we were on 2 common teams with the Rangers and the Yankees. They did not get there. In June, what are you looking at?
Yeah, let's recap May real quick, because you're making this look really easy, by the way. That you're just going to run through this apparently each month with the Braves and the Brewers you cash in. But unreal May, just a wild last week and a half there. 4 teams were actually tied for the lead going into the last day. The Brewers end up winning, being the only team that win, and they take this outright. Looked like it was going to be a dead heat, maybe a 4-5-way tie, or at least 2 where they dead heat and have to cut the bike in half, as Paulie likes to say.
Yes.
But no, the Brewers take it outright, and it's interesting with them because they had 27 games. They had the least amount of games scheduled than any other team in the month of May. They also had 1 game postponed, which is unreal that they still got there. Some bad beats with Tampa and Cleveland because they were right there the whole month, and Tampa even had 2 games postponed throughout the month. So tough one, and that's equivalent to a loss in this market.
Yeah,
so tough one for Rays and Guardians backers there.
No doubt. I will remind people we have to do this every single time when Chris joins the program. So the 3 books that we're aware of that offer this, right? I think FanDuel was doing it last year for a minute, but I couldn't find it when I looked earlier today and yesterday. It's Circa, it's DraftKings, and Caesars. DK and Caesars will have a dead heat, as far as I know. It's Caesars for sure. Circa, and the reason why I bet the Brewers at Circa is because they were going to play fewer games than all these other teams, and their number 1 tiebreaker is which team has the fewest losses. So I thought if there was going to be a tie here, the Brewers are going to have fewer losses than any of these other teams because they only played a certain amount of games. And that's their number 1. Their number 2 tiebreaker, in case there would have been like a 4 or 5-way tie yesterday, is run differential. So that would have been, I think, the Dodgers because their run differential was so big overall. The first team that I told Chris about, first 2 teams. One was a long shot this month, the A's, and the other one is the Diamondbacks at 14-1. What do you make of the Diamondbacks this month?
Yeah, the Diamondbacks, it's more the number. I just couldn't get there. They have the most games played, so they have 28 games, so at least 1 more, if not 2 or 3 more than any other team. They start off here against the Dodgers, so you might be up against it right after this first series with them. It was more of a number. I just couldn't get there with the Diamondbacks.
By the way, what are some of the most important factors that you look at? Paulie was asking me this earlier. Is it scheduled? What's your breakdown overall of run differential against their opponents? Also, like how many games they play on the road compared to at home?
Yeah, home and away splits. But most importantly, it's amount of games played, opponent schedule, and then how good that team is. And then how any injuries that might come into play as well. And maybe the starting rotation setup as you're going into the first day of the month. If you remember, Mizrachi started day 1 and day 31 in the month of May for the Brewers, which that didn't hurt, obviously, since he just absolutely tore it up throughout the whole month.
Honestly, that was part of my handicap on the Brewers last month, and that the fact that he was going to get all of their good teams with the exception, I believe, of the Dodgers. And he did not pitch against, but he pitched against the Yankees. He was amazing against everybody. And looking ahead at that, there's part of the reason why I baked that in. Your model, look, every single month, I'm guessing the Dodgers are going to be number 1 in your model.
Yeah, I mean, barring any crazy, circumstances, they'll be number 1. Yankees seem to be kind of trending towards number 2. So we'll kind of see how everything plays out the rest of the way.
Okay, 3rd this month in your model is the Chicago Cubs. And I know that's, I believe that's Gil Alexander's play for this month. He's on the Cubs and got them right away. Did you have any interest in betting Chicago?
I had interest in them. I did not bet them, but they do have the easiest opponent win percentage throughout the month. So I can totally understand getting there. They've been so streaky. I don't know what version of the Chicago Cubs you're going to get. If you get the good version, I think you're feeling pretty good about anything that's 7, 8, 9, 10 to 1. But no, it's not a play for me this time.
Okay. Any consideration to the best record in baseball with the Atlanta Braves, who almost pulled it off back-to-back months? Now, here's the deal. They only play 25 games, which you mentioned that Diamondbacks play 28. A lot of teams play either 26 or 27, so the Braves are going to be up against it there. To me, that would be a consideration at Circa, but Circa's around like plus 1260 in that range. Caesars 12 to 1, but DK 22 to 1. What do you think? I think we lost Chris. Okay. DK had a much bigger number on Atlanta than those other three teams. So
how about the Rays? 20 to 1. First place. We're on fire. Had 18 in May. Stumbled to the finish line. Doable schedule in June.
Well, I'll tell you.
Great pitching staff.
A much better number at DK than the other two books.
Yeah, 20 at DK.
Yeah, but they only play 26 games.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind as well.
Yeah. And I looked at Seattle and Milwaukee. They have gone from 14 to 11 to 1 today at DK.
Did they? Okay.
Much lower. It's at Caesars Will Hill as well.
All right, well, I hope we can get Chris connected again to give out his official plays for the month before I explain what I did, because I want to hear from him explain what he likes and why he likes them. Honestly, like the A's have a pretty easy schedule, and Circa and Caesars have 50 to 1 if you wanted to take a look at a long shot. And another team, maybe at long odds, the schedule's a little bit too difficult for me, but Baltimore's playing better baseball now, and the differences in prices here. DK all the way down at 30 to 1. Caesars had 75 to 1 in the Orioles. But I can't really make the case for that big of a long shot this month. Mm-hmm. What say you, Chris, in a couple of minutes left here? Long shots or just overall plays that you have for June?
Yeah, and sorry about that connection, guys. My first play, I like the Mariners, and I heard Paulie mention them earlier. You can get 10 to 1 at Circa, 11 to 1 at DraftKings. Mm-hmm. They're fifth in my model. They're fifth easiest opponent win percentage as well. They've won 6 in a row now, so they got some momentum going. That pitching staff is just elite, right? So you're going to have in pretty much every series that you play, starting with tonight against the Mets. And then the offense has actually been coming around of late. I was actually surprised to see they were tied for first in home runs in the month of May, along with the White Sox. Imagine that. But after being 19th in home runs in April, they were first in home runs in May. So hopefully that offense is coming around, and the pitching staff can also carry them to a bunch of wins there. So Seattle's the first play.
Okay, that's number one, and we have about 45 seconds left here. Your second play is which team?
Houston Astros, 7 against the Tigers. That automatically gets my attention. Second easiest opponent win percentage. Just a very manageable schedule. They're getting healthier. I like that play, and Spencer Arrighetti has also just been killing it lately. So I think he can carry that staff. Very
good. Again, make sure you follow Chris on X. He shares all of his projections up there and what the model looks like. He's at Bellm Chris, BELLM Chris, up on X. Thanks, man. Best of luck in June, okay?
Sounds great. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
And he'll be out here in July to sign up for the contest. Circa's 2026 football contests are open. You don't have to live in Vegas to play. After your required in-person registration, Winner's Circle Proxy handles your weekly submissions. You can make your picks anywhere in the country. One trip, play all season long from anywhere. Schedule your appointment now, winnerscircleproxy.com.
I'll tell you how I'm approaching June coming up next, and we'll hit the Stanley Cup final. I'll bring a way to attack this if you're expecting a low-scoring series next.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Thanks to Chris Bellm joining us previous segment, going over his projections for most wins in the month of June. Major League Baseball game starting tonight, obviously. I'll tell you what I have done to this point. I don't plan on adding anything else, but I also do not like the month of June because so many of the teams that I have interest in are around the same odds. So it's like kind of throwing a dart, like which team do I like the most? Because I like Arizona, and I like Atlanta, and I like Seattle, and I like Milwaukee, and I like the Yankees. So it's like, oh boy, that really stings. Like last month, I liked the Yankees at 10-1, but I also liked the Guardians at 38 and at 39 and the Brewers at 38. So you can kind of play along there with a couple of long shots as well, and the Brewers got there. But so these are like half unit bets. Number one is going to be Atlanta at 22-1 at DraftKings. I had to bet that. They're the best team in baseball. I get it. They only have 25 wins, but we just saw this, or 25 games that they play this month. But we just saw it with Milwaukee, and they had a game postponed as well, as Chris was explaining. So, and the Brewers took down the month of May despite only playing a certain amount of games compared to other teams. I got to keep riding this with the team, and they don't play that difficult of a schedule. The other one is like the first. I'm going to have FOMO if I don't bet the Diamondbacks, so I got them at 14-1. They were the very first team I looked at and considered. So I'm like, it feels to me like Milwaukee last month. I kept talking about the Brewers, didn't bet them, and finally the Cubs played a day game on May 1st. So the morning of before we were on the air, I'm like, if I don't bet the Brewers and they win, I'm not going to be happy with myself. So Arizona's in pocket at 14-1. And my God, the Yankees are this pitching staff. They get the Tigers 5 times. They get the Guardians 6, which I think we're going to start to see some regression from the Guardians. They get the Red Sox like 6 times, the White Sox, the Reds. It's a very manageable schedule. So I'm having fun with this bet. The Yankees, for the most wins in the month of June, parlayed with the Knicks to win the NBA title at higher than 24-1. There you go. There you have it.
Thank
Paulie.
you.
Yep.
Excellent.
Let's hope to make it 3 months. Okay.
I'm with them on Seattle, too.
No, it's
Like Seattle.
Yeah.
It's hard to ignore the 20-1 on Tampa Bay as well.
Okay, so for the Stanley Cup final, I'm staring right at 5.5 under even money in my face for like 3 consecutive days.
Sure you are. And alt number 6.5 minus 150. So it goes back to what back after this Funhouse said about who's scoring in this series. This should be a low. Look how Carolina plays, and then you got Hart, who's been out of his mind for 7-8 games.
Well, I want to go the other way on it. I want to go like under 5 because you're getting 70 cents right there. So 5.5 under that is even money, but under 5 is plus 170, maybe even a little bit better than that. I will gladly walk away in game 1 with a push at 3-2. But also I can get a bunch of other combinations there with what you were just saying. Like if this is played out to where it's going to be low scoring across the board, like that to me, 70 or maybe even like 80 cents on half a goal from 5.5 to 5 seems like a pretty good bet to me. And we're trying to bring on hopefully a pro bettor this week because I'm not going to try to tell you that I'm an expert of like these alt numbers and what they're worth. I'm not. I want to learn more about it. So hopefully like a Frank B can join us this week and explain like that number makes sense because
I was going to run down all these places offer them.
Right.
Like under 4.5 plus 270, under 5 plus 185.
There you go. Under 5 plus 185. Yeah.
Under 6 minus 130, under 6.5 minus 160.
Boy, under 6 minus 130 feels like a really good number to bet as well. Again,
and it's not an elimination game. You don't have to worry about nonsense with the goalie coming out, and that also helps.
Sure. Now, also one other way I want to attack the series if we do get low-scoring games, something we discussed during the playoffs when we had those, back-to-back nights with a game that was scoreless in regulation.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Pizza money, every game to be 0-0 going to overtime.
Oh, so what do you need, though?
Well, I'll bet triple digits every game if it's going to be offered. Now, Caesars did not have it offered earlier today. MGM's 50-1, DK 80-1, FanDuel 125-1.
50-1?
Yeah, I'm not betting that. I'm not betting that. But if it's posted at 100-1 or higher, every single game, I will put Pete. If you win it once, you're having a great final, man. And so I was able to get down at 100-1 today on nothing going to overtime.
Will there be a shutout in the series is only plus 120? Just one shutout?
From either team.
Yeah. And then game 1, it's 8-1 and 10-1.
Ooh.
Vegas is 10-1. Carolina's 8-1. If Freddie can do it again.
What
He
if-
almost had number 4 on Friday.
What if you can find plus 350 or better and take to go to overtime every single game? Because doesn't it feel like it? Oh, you like
yeah.
Carolina in the series.
Yeah, but
Can't these games be like 2-2 every time? Watch it get flipped up.
it's hard because like the Knicks have steamrolled everybody.
Sure.
San Antonio was so impressive, and then you had the 7-game war. Carolina's historic what they've done as well. Vegas just found their game midway through the Anaheim series.
I know.
So did they just, because of injuries, luck factor, and they were so good, suffocating Colorado? Or does the team that should have lost to Utah show up? I don't know.
And the team that did not have a great regular season.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, absolutely. That's why I'm pissed off at hockey. 43 wins Washington or 41 wins Islanders. Vegas wouldn't even made the playoffs if they were in the East.
That's right.
They had the same amount of wins as San Jose, and here they are in the Cup final. But they're hot, and they got a great goalie. And he has gone from 75-1 to he's 12-1 at DK. He's 10-1 at Caesars. He last check he was 27-1 last week at FanDuel.
He was
for the Conn Smythe. Freddie is now unplayable, plus 220. Can't play him because Hall's been so good. Stankoven's been so good.
Oh, Stankoven can win this. Yeah,
that's right. I do like Stankoven. Most shots on goal, 16-1 in the series.
Okay,
but this is tough because it's what Vegas team do I count on now? What is the correct power rating? What Vegas team am I going to get? It would have been awesome to get healthy Carolina against healthy Colorado, but still Vegas was the 2 seed. And if they can somehow beat this team, which I just don't think it can happen, because you can't get anything going offensively. Vegas does have better special teams, which could decide this. But Freddie's in a zone. They don't give anything up, and they're so potent on offense. There's a great article up on NHL.com that the way to beat Hart is blocker side. He's weak on the glove side. Excuse me, on the blocker side. Stick side, what I'm meaning to say. And you can take advantage of the gap there in between the armpit with the good breakdown of what he was giving up in the playoffs and the issues that he had in the regular season. So that's one way to attack it as well, which, remember, I was calling for it and others were calling for it. They should have pulled him in the Utah series.
Sure.
But Torts was stubborn, but it worked out knowing his guy. And he didn't do that as well. But he had some bad moments early on in the playoffs.
Do we think it's going to continue with the shots on goal from both sides where, Hart's going to get peppered, much like Montreal did, and like the Carolina defense is so good that the Golden Knights can't muster much on the offensive end, and so play Anderson shots on goal under.
Saves under?
I'm sorry, saves under, and then Hart saves over?
Yeah, I don't hate that. It was ridiculous what happened. That was a record. What they gave up in the Montreal series and the shot disparity.
Right. And there's no way in my mind that Vegas can be outplayed like Montreal was.
Well, what's the comp? Montreal was good. Montreal beats Tampa.
Yeah.
That's the question. But it goes back to what Vegas team am I going to get? What's the correct Vegas? What is the accurate Vegas team?
Right.
The one that found their game in the middle of Anaheim and took out and embarrassed Colorado?
How about, is Tortorella so good that he's going to pull all the right strings here? This has been...
I think he's getting too much credit.
You think so?
Yes. I'm not saying to go as far as what he said. I'm just a guidance counselor. But I think I just think they hated Cassidy.
That's certainly true based on most reports anyway. I'll tell you this. If the Knights win, and I know we've talked about this now ad nauseum going back to different series, but we did point out again, like you said, Carter Hart was 75-1 for the Conn Smythe. Mitch Marner was still a big price. I'm not going to rule out Eichel. There's no way I can. If the Golden Knights win this, he is going to be a key player, and if he has a huge goal, and if he's just creating points, chances the entire time, he's around 16-17-1, I think, at most books. Not a bad number. Not awful. Like I think Stankoven and Eichel are two guys who could, and Hall, but I don't know. Can you play Hall at 6-1 right now?
No,
I don't think so either.
How about this at DraftKings? Will any game have 10+ goals? No, minus 220. 10+?
Well, what if is there?
Come on.
So it feels to me like all of the narrative going into the series is going to be nothing's going to happen. What if it's completely dead wrong? And we get game 1 tomorrow night and it's 6-3. And chances are flying around like crazy.
No. Double overtime, 3-1.
0-0.
Hat trick, shutout, all that's up too.
Pro Sports Bettor, Paul Bovey on the program next. Season tickets to the Knicks since the 80s. Will he be in attendance or is he selling his tickets overall? Also, he has a ton of bets on the series to discuss coming up next here on VSiN.